Welcome to another edition of Northern Heat. My name is Bob Lennon, President of ThermalWood Canada, host for the show. Our special guest today, Eric Johnson. Eric, how are you?
Good, Bob. I'm happy to be back.
Be back. Yeah, this is your third time you said, right?
Third, yeah.
Okay. So, Eric, you're the brand specialist here at ThermalWood Canada. You're also the number one bestseller in Bathurst for novels, as we joke around about it in the office. Yeah. There's other things that we joke around about in the office, but we won't go into those. But the reason why I wanted to interview you today is that the Northern Heat has basically branched out over the last month or so, maybe, I think. Yeah, around there. And so we've gone from only having our interviews that we have on Friday afternoons and taken over that airwave. But now we've branched out to having written posts out there with different stories. So let's talk a little bit about that and where you're going and who you're talking to and stuff as Olive walks around the interview here.
Yeah. Well, like I said, right before I worked here, I worked for the Northern Light. So I have a journalism background, and a couple months ago you mentioned to me that maybe we could expand the Northern Heat Report into a written edition, and I could go around and interview people, and we could create our own kind of feel-good local newspaper. And that's right up my alley, things I love doing. I love writing, and I love interviewing people, so it gives them another avenue as well to get on the Heat Report, because not everybody wants to sit in front of the camera. Some people are a little bit camera shy and they don't.
Yeah.
So this gives everybody an opportunity to get their story out there and get some kind of, some publicity for their business or whatever it is they're doing. And yeah, so for the past, it's been about a month and a half, I think. And we've done Pure Balance Yoga. We've done
Industrial Rubber was another one. You've been doing bands. You've been talking to different people, the youth center. There's all kinds of other activities that are going on. And you're absolutely right. There's a whole bunch of really good news stories here in the region. And if we only do this once a week, we don't have a chance to get them all out. But this does give us a chance to get out there and talk to more people. And you've also been asking them if they're interested in coming on and doing this, and response pretty good too.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it gives you, a list of potential, business leaders or whatever that can come onto the show too. So yeah, I'm asking pretty well everyone if they'd be interested in coming onto this show. And for the most part, they seem interested. Every once in a while, like I said, they don't really want to get in front of the camera, but for the most part, it's been really positive. And yeah, I mean, every one of them have said how great it is what we're doing, how great it is to market and push. There's a lot of great things going on locally, and a lot of people don't necessarily know about them. So we're giving, they're giving them a chance to get their name out there. And, some of these posts, we've seen them on Facebook, and the amount of comments and shares and likes, the reach that some of these articles are getting has really been, it's really been incredible.
And you're absolutely right. There's all these incredible stories, and that's what the Northern Heat is all about. It's all about being out there and giving some airplay to some incredible stories that we have in the region that people wouldn't necessarily know. They wouldn't know that this happened, and they wouldn't know that this happened. Carol Johnson, and the work that she's doing with the farm and helping people out with mental health and stuff on the farm. You did a write-up on her, and then I interviewed her after that. These are all great stories that if you're just, we kind of have all these little silos, and unless you go to Tim Hortons, but those, most of the time, those are pretty negative stories. But all we want to do is talk about the positive stuff.
Yeah, and there's enough. I mean, like at this point, we're doing one written article per week on Monday, plus your video interviews on Friday. And I mean, like I just have a lot. I have a lot of them that aren't out yet. I mean, it's just, we could probably do this. I don't know what it's going to turn into, but it could be twice a week, 3 times a week. We could post these stories because there's so many of them. People don't even know. Like there's all the ones I've already, we've already published, but there's a whole bunch still that aren't published yet that I've written, and still doing more interviews. I'm doing one right after this interview. I mean, it's just, it's multiple times a week. There's people, I'm either reaching out or they're reaching out to me, and now I've got some business cards made up, and I'm going to give those to different places around Bathurst and have people reaching out to me. I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable how many stories are out here.
So if anybody's, because I even have people approaching me sometimes on the street and saying that, you should interview this person or that person. And so now we have opportunities to do two things, right? Written and also the live show. But if somebody wants to get a hold of us or get a hold of you for interviews, how do they do it?
Yeah, well, two ways, really. I mean, there's email. So you can eric.thermalwoodcanada@gmail.com. I'm on that every single day.
Yeah. Or you call here at the office.
Yeah, call here or call my cell phone, 252-4793. I always have my phone on me too. So email, call the office, call my cell phone, whatever, however you want to reach out. And like I said, I'm going to have business cards going out there very shortly, going to different shops around town. So, you'll probably be able to find it, in the near future. But until then, just reach out in those ways. And like, we're not going to turn you away. There isn't a certain type of story we're looking for. If you're doing something positive, even if it's just the smallest business or a little side thing that you're trying out, I mean, it's all about the stories. So, I mean, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Don't, like I said, for the people out there that might be interested, don't think that what you're doing is not big enough or whatever, because we want to hear all stories. If it's something positive, that's the only requirement.
Yeah, and you're right. Yeah. That's the only requirement. All we want to do is get out the positive stories and tell the good stories that are going on, and anything is a good story, because at the end of the day, we post this on Facebook, and Facebook is an opening to the world, right? And so you never know who's going to see it. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, people look at this and they get to know who the people are, and it builds trust in our community. And people look at it and say, hey, this is not a bad place to live. I was talking to somebody the other day at the block party, and there was a great example of all the community coming together. And there was, a couple of thousand people on a section of Main Street that was closed off. And I bumped into an old friend of mine, and, he had talked about moving away, and, had lived here most of his life, and said, hey, you know what? There's things to do here now, and we're doing things. And that's the key, is that sometimes we don't realize the forest for the trees and don't realize what's in front of us. And we've got so much to offer. Yeah, we do. And the local businesses are amazing for supporting each other. I mean, a lot of these businesses survived COVID with the help with, networking with each other. And a lot of interviews I've done, I mean, that's the first thing they say. When I say, why Bathurst? What makes you want to open a business and what makes you want to live here and stay here? The first thing they say is community, and how supportive everybody is, because after the mines closed down, there's some fear that this would become maybe a ghost town for a little while, but it's kind of reinvented itself into these small, local businesses, and they, more and more keep coming every year, and they're all helping each other out, and it's, it's just an amazing community. That's what, like I said, pretty well every one of them so far has said, the people here are what make me want to open a business and stay here. Well, more and more reason for us to tell stories, right? So thank you very much for sitting down with me today and talking a little bit about this. And again, for letting our audience know that this is what we're doing with the Northern Heat, and to be able to get those good news stories out there. And then on top of that, if everybody that turns around and shares those out to the rest of the world and to their friends, it's just going to grow and grow and grow. And then we'll be able to tell more stories as we go. And you never know, maybe we'll turn into Northern Heat. We'd be able to have articles going out every day of the week. And there's no reason why we can't do that.
And we've even mentioned potentially turned into a book, one of these days, taking the best, the biggest 10, 20 stories. And, maybe that's something we could do in the future too. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen with this, and we're excited to see where it goes.
So as somebody told me about a month ago, is to believe in the possibilities, and we can do that as we go through. So if you want to get on the Northern Heat, either on camera with me, or if you want to sit down with Eric and do an article, just reach out to us here at the office at 506-548-9126. Reach out to Eric and on his email address, and we'll leave those in the footnotes that we're going to have to go with this post. And tell us all your great stories, because everybody has some good ones to tell. So there we have it. Another edition of Northern Heat for this week, the place you come to listen to the stories that haven't been discovered yet.